The upper level heat dome responsible for our ongoing summer unpleasantness, a nice way to put it, over the last 7 to 10 days is beginning to break down and shift into the southwestern United States. What's that mean for our Independence Day outdoor plans? Let's talk about it in this Thursday edition of the Texas Weather Roundup. Good morning. It is Thursday, the 29th of June, 2023. I'm Texas Storm Chaser's Baldy-in-Chief David Reimer. It has been a very hot and unpleasant week across the state of Texas, and that's not going to change today or the next few days, but we are going to see changes occur as we get into the weekend and next week as the upper level heat dome begins to shift off to the west, and that allows us to turn the thermostat down a wee bit and even introduce the chance for some scattered thunderstorms to the state. Thunderstorms being a relative term that we get to use in the summer department. Summer pop-up storms, not summer I'm going to make a derecho that knocks out hundreds of thousands of power customers across the state. Again, we're not doing that again. No. I'm telling this to Mother Nature. Please, no, not again. We're not expecting that for what it's worth. But anyway, let's just pop on over and take a look at the temperature forecast over the next 5 days. Now, yesterday was the hottest day for most locations. We're going to start eventually and somewhat slowly cooling off over the next few days, but it's still going to be hot. Coolest high temperatures today, about 95 to 97 in the northern Texas Panhandle, down into the Davis Mounds around Alpine, then up towards the Guadalupe Mounds there in far west Texas. Otherwise, the high temperatures you see here today add on several degrees across the eastern third of Texas for the humidity values. Across the western half of Texas, the scorching hot temperatures have really dried out the topsoil moisture, and with that, the humidity values have come down, but we're also seeing a relatively quick uptick in initial attack activity in terms of grass fires and wildfires. For example, a several hundred-acre fire near Possum Kingdom Lake yesterday afternoon put up quite a header smoke plume, and we've got reports that the initial attack activity is increasing. So again, it may have been a wet June, but make no mistake about it, when it's 100 degrees for days on end, it does not take long for that grass, those soils, those fuels to start drying out and increase the energy release components, the ignition components, and all that fun stuff that just results in increased and more aggressive wildfire behavior. Yeah, I know. You thought we'd be done with that after the wet last month, right? Nope. Absolutely not. But maybe there's a wee bit of glimmer of hope we can talk about in a minute. All right, let's get into Friday. Here's the forecast high temperatures. Now, the biggest change here is those 80s in the Panhandle. You see that? Those high temperatures in the 80s? I'm okay with this in July. Or almost July. I don't really care. Let's just pretend it's going to be July because it makes Baldy-in-Chief happy, and Baldy-in-Chief has not had his coffee. That is the beginning of our upper level heat dome beginning to weaken and shift to the west. In conjunction with that, we're also going to see a bit of a monsoonal flow set up across the western third to western half of Texas over the next 3 to 5 days. The dry line's going to get pulled back west in New Mexico, get pulled back west into far west Texas. That's going to allow for higher moisture to return to western portions of Texas. One, hopefully allowing for some of these increased wildfire concerns to chill out a bit. And two, increase the probability that we see some thunderstorm activity. Monsoon. And again, yes, we do actually have monsoonal activity typically in far west Texas, around El Paso, and sometimes that even filters into parts of the Panhandle, West Texas, and Permian Basin. All right, as we get into Saturday, you can see cooling off still, a couple more degrees. Southeastern half of Texas, I mean, it's still going to be hot. Upper 90s, lower 100s, add on a couple degrees for the heat index. It's going to be hot, but it is not going to be as hot as it has been over the last several days with the heat index values trying to get near 120 degrees at times. That is ridiculously unacceptable, and no. Meanwhile, in the Panhandle, highs down to West Texas, those are in the 80s. Those are high temperatures. Those are not low temperatures. Those are high temperatures, and that makes me a happy Baldy-in-Chief. All right, here's Sunday. You can see we pretty much continue that cool down across a good chunk of the state. Now, cool down's being relative here. It's going to be July. We're not going to see high temperatures in the 60s in July unless something really weird happens, which after the crazy record active severe weather events in June, I mean, one can wish, right? But don't plan on it. Anyway, high temperatures generally in the upper 80s to upper 90s, still probably right around the triple digits in the Rio Grande Plains and the Edwards Plateau. And then here is Monday. High temperatures generally in the 90s. So, hey, you know what? That's still a pretty good cool off for some folks here. I mean, we're going to be what? Good 10 degrees cooler in the air temperature department in some locations compared to yesterday or a few days earlier this week. And hey, you know what? Maybe we can keep this up as we continue into next week and maybe shift some of that less hot air further southeast. Though while we're talking about temperatures, keep in mind with the slight increase in monsoonal activity, we're going to have some cloud cover to talk about, increased moisture. Perhaps we'll get lucky here, and if we can get some more storms to pop up, that'll add more cloud cover, which could help keep temperatures a little cooler. But likewise, unfortunately, given the timing of all this, aka Independence Day being on Tuesday, we are also going to have to deal with the potential for scattered thunderstorms. Today, potential for isolated to scattered storms, western Texas Panhandle, West Texas. Tomorrow, same locations, Panhandle, West Texas, Permian Basin, far West Texas, the Trans-Pecos. Saturday, we could see scattered or isolated to scattered storms across the northwestern half of Texas, meaning that goes pretty much, let's just say Texoma, northwest Texas, the Big Country, western North Texas, the Concho Valley, the Edwards Plateau, and points west. And again, we'll have to see if those chances shift any further east on Sunday and early next week. But as a reminder, when thunder roars, go indoors. If you can hear thunder, you are close enough to be struck by lightning. And even if the storm is 20 miles away, Mother Nature does have a tendency to throw out positive cloud-to-ground lightning strikes, and those can go dozens of miles away from the parent thunderstorm, and also tend to be the most intense and deadly types of lightning because they tend to be near 50,000 degrees Celsius, hotter than the face of the sun. And trust me, we don't need anyone being electrocuted or hit by lightning. No. Oh, and another safety note, since we are starting to dry out a little bit, please don't set your fields on fire with fireworks. Definitely not as concerned about it as we were last year. At the same time, common sense is something that some of us tend to lack, so let's try to share it with the class. All right, so with all that being said, we'll keep an eye on precip chances as we get into and closer to the weekend early next week. We'll start pumping out graphics that better graphically depict the chance for storms on a daily basis. But hey, you know what? It sure beats it being 110 for the next 2 weeks, so we'll take it. Y'all can keep an eye on the sky with the free Texas Storm Chasers mobile app. Get down to the neighborhood forecast, which would help with those precipitation chances, by the way, in terms of at least knowing if you're going to have any. Interactive weather radars, storm chasing videos, and weather forecast videos. Otherwise, TexasStormChasers.com/radar for our free interactive weather radar. Next Texas Weather Roundup will be out bright and early by 7 a.m. tomorrow. That is Friday the 30th of June. Y'all make it a great Thursday. Stay cool, stay hydrated, and God bless.